Franklin Roosevelt memorably said, "The only thing to fear is fear itself." And I'm thinking about this in thinking about how many people are afraid to speak up in their marriages. I'm Lesli, your marriage coach, and the challenge with fear is that fear is what keeps us alive. We need fear. It's what keeps us from, or most of us anyway, from doing things that will bring us harm. The problem is that when our body experiences fear, it truly doesn't know the difference between whether or not we're being chased by a lion, real and valid fear, and fear of having a difficult conversation with our partners. Fear is real, just not valid in the terms of, more than likely, in most cases, not all, but in most cases, our partners are not going to do us bodily harm. But what happens inside our bodies is exactly the same. And this shows up, I was talking to a young couple the other day, and she was terrified to actually talk to her husband about the way he's handling something with one of their kids. And he has he can't do anything about it because she doesn't feel like she can bring it up. Now, we all have histories of things that are going to set us off. Something that is very real to me is fear of abandonment. So the worst thing that my husband of almost 40 years could do would be to come down the stairs and say, "I'm leaving." Now, he's never done that. He's never threatened me with divorce. I have no real fear in relationship to him. However, there was one particular conversation that probably happened maybe 15, 20 years ago, 20 years plus into our marriage, where we were having a conversation about our intimate life, a very common thing to have for many married couples, to have an issue around this, especially if you've been together for a long time. And I was terrified to have this conversation, absolutely terrified. And I used every single tool that I had in my book, and we had the conversation. I was able to listen to him. I didn't respond. I was just really trying to listen to hear his perspective. And I was up most of the night stewing about it, thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, if I don't change things, he's going to leave. And so the next morning, I got all my courage up, and I looked at him. I mean, I was exhausted. I had not slept. And I said, "I need an answer to a question. I don't need to talk about it. I just need an answer." And I said to him, "If I can't do what you're asking, are you leaving?" And he looked at me like I had three heads, and he said, "No. Where did you get that idea?" Now, my fear was very real. It just didn't turn out to be valid. Now, luckily, my husband and I, are able to have these kinds of conversations. And by the way, this is not something that we've always been able to do. And some conversations, this one in particular, are harder than others. But had he let fear stop him from initiating the conversation, and if I had let fear stop me from participating in the conversation, we never would have gotten past it. And I'm here to tell you that the one thing, the only thing that can overcome fear is love. And it takes quite a bit more love to overcome fear. It's not a one-to-one, right? And this fear of your wife's reaction, her fear of your reaction. And by the way, one of the things that happens when you're afraid to have a conversation is that you go in all armored up, because you're preparing yourself for battle, because in your mind you think that's the only way through. And when they tell you, if you start a conversation that way, I can almost guarantee it is going to go downhill. But fear, fear is a very important thing for us to have. But the bigger part is, before you go and approach your partner, to process your own emotions, to, when I work with a lot of clients who, were anxious, I would say, okay, write down the worst possible outcome and stick it in a drawer. So if that event ever happens, you know what you'll do. You'll go to the drawer, you'll pick up your paper, you'll go, okay, if this happens, here's my plan, right? It is the not knowing that is so scary. And the truth of the matter is, as long as you're alive, you have options. You can make choices. But when we get overcome with fear, we actually think we're going to die. We don't. That doesn't mean that the outcome is good, but when you can be the master of your fear and not your fear be the master of you, that's when you're going to be on the way to relationship success. So if you'd like some help with that, as I told you, I've had to go through this. I did not just wake up knowing all of this stuff. I invite you to get in touch. If you find this helpful and you like these videos, I also invite you to subscribe to the channel. And until next week, stay loving.